Hi good people, Titus here for a quick Blender tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to make a standard AR15 metal magazine. This technique will demonstrate subsurf workflow, so we'll be trying to work primarily in quads. But let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Alright, first step, you want to get a good reference image. I got a blueprint here. I'm going to pick an area on the blueprint. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to try working top down, so I'll do shift right click, add my 3D cursor, shift A, mesh, we're going to add a plane. In object mode, I'm going to rotate on the X 90 degrees. I'm then going to grab it in the Y, push it forward just a bit, and then I'm going to line it up. Oops, I'm going to switch my pivot point to individual origins, and I'm just going to line it up in this corner here. Kind of as best I can. Then I'm going to tab into edit mode, edge select, I'm going to grab, lock it in the local Y, so Y twice, extrude out. Select this edge, press E to extrude, that's going to be the local X axis, so X twice. And then I'm just going to repeat that and just build out this basic shape. We're not going to do the front part, mainly because the front part actually doesn't come all the way to the top and bottom, so we'll extrude that out a little bit later, so we'll stop right there. Now I'm going to go into transparency with Alt-Z. I'm going to select these 2 points here, scale them in, like so. Select this one, scale that one in, then we press Ctrl-B, add a bevel. Shift select these two edges here, Ctrl-B, and add a bevel on there. I'm then going to go into face select, press C, circle select, press enter, lock that in. I'm going to back up a bit and just press E to extrude and just give some thickness here. I'm going to press Alt-Z, then tab into object mode, and then if you remember, we rotated the plane in object mode, so we have non-uniform rotation, which means I can simply just press Alt-R, resets the rotation, and that allows me to line up my magazine with my next reference image on my blueprint. By the way, if you're doing a search for a reference image, add the keyword blueprint, and you'll usually get some pretty good results. Alright, I'm going to tab into edit mode. I have my bottom face selected, so I can just grab, select that area, and then press R, rotate. And then I'm going to try to line that up as best as I can. Alt-Z for transparency mode. Maybe rotate a little bit more, like so. Then to make this curve, we're going to need some loop cuts, so I'll press R, roll my mouse wheel up. We'll do 4 segments, right click to snap it even, and then we'll select the bottom loop first, grab and the local X, so X twice, and then I'm going to line that up there, press Alt, grab X twice, line that up there, Alt, grab X twice, line that up there, and then Alt, grab XX. And line that up there. Now this line I want to make perfectly straight, so I can come into vertex mode with it selected. Then I can press scale, or S for scale, and the Z axis to 0. Back to edge select, GG, edge slide it up to the beginning of this cutout. And then I need another loop cut, and we're going to place that at the top of that cutout. And it's this little square cutout right here. I also want to cut, or loop cut right here to mark the beginning of that extrusion, because I'm trying to work with quads. And then I'm going to put one near the bottom. I'm going to do maybe right about there. Somewhere there. Alright, but we're looking pretty good. So that's our shape so far. We can probably go ahead and add a subsurf modifier just to see how we're looking. Bump it to 2, In object mode, you can right click, shade smooth, and then that's the shape we got so far. So let's tab back into edit mode, face select. I'm just gonna go ahead and I don't think I need my top face anymore. So I'm gonna lock that in, press X, delete faces. So we're looking kind of like that. Then back in front view, I can extrude out the bottom face already, I think. So we'll just do a circle select here. Press enter, lock that in, Alt Z, and then I'm going to just do a basic extrusion, maybe right about there. And then I am going to hold Alt, click face select, so I have that ring selected. And then what you can do is you can just extrude with E, right click to snap it back, then Alt S, and just kind of push it out just a smidge. That way you have this kind of like nice little bottom plate there, nothing too fancy. And then I also want to add a little accent piece. So I'm going to do a Control R right here. And then I'll right click, snap it even, Control B. We'll add a tiny bevel. And then what we can do is maybe go into edge select, GGs, grab these up here. So maybe we'll do these one at a time. Grab that one, slide this up here. Grab that one kind of like that. Then we'll go back into face select, hold Alt, click right here. And now what I want to do is kind of extrude that in. So we can press E to extrude, right click, Alt S, and then we'll just bring it in just a smidge so you have that nice little defining accent piece. And we'll shape it up here in a second. So let's tab back into edit mode, come into side view with 3. I'm going to press Control R to add a loop cut vertically. I'm going to mouse wheel up, give myself 2 loops, right click to snap it even. And then with that, I'll go to face select. I'll select these faces in the front, like so. And I'm just going to go to front view, and I'm just going to extrude that out, kind of like so. Now we have this sort of magazine shape. Now when working with subsurf workflows, you typically want to stick with quads because it allows you to do your loop cuts to add supporting loops. So let's define the shape with some loop cuts. So let's go back into edit mode. We can add a loop cut here, right click even, Control B to bevel it, push your loops out like so. Control R on this one, right click, snap even, Control B, bring it up 2, and you're just pushing these edges out as close to the side as you can without overlapping. And then Control R, right click, Control B, and then just like that. And then one last one over here, right click, Control B, like so. Now if we come back into front view, you can see we have a better defined shape with our grooves, so it's working pretty good. Now we need to define the side here as well, so let's tab back, Control R, right click, and then Control B. And then that looks a lot better. And then we can start doing some cross cuts as well. So right here, we can do a Control R and then Control B, push those out, and then Control R, right click, Control B, and pushes those out as far as you can. Control R, we'll do one on the bottom, Control B. And now we can just take a quick look. And we're starting to get there. Let's come back to the side view here. And you may want to tighten up a loop over here. Actually, that's probably, we got some overlapping geometry a bit, so let's see if we can fix that. PG, bring that up a smidge. And control click, and let's try to bring this down. Actually, now we'll bring that back up because that was working all right. But up here, if you want to tighten that up, you can do Control R there. Oops. And then just edge slide that down like so. And that doesn't look too bad. So now what we can do is we need to add this little lip. So let's tab into edit mode. We will select this face here, control click around your selection to build it out. Just like that. And then we can just press E to extrude, Z to lock it in the Z axis, bring it up there. And then with this selection, you can hold Shift S, and then cursor to selected. It's gonna bring your cursor midway. Then we go to face select and delete these faces back here. So you have this nice little curve down. And then we'll go back to edge select, hold Alt, click this edge, then Shift Alt, click this edge. We're gonna switch our pivot point to 3D cursor, and we can scale in the Y. And you can just kind of bend this out like so. So now you're left with this kind of shape. That looks pretty good. Now we need to do the cutout. In order to do the cutout, we need access to the geo. So we're gonna have to apply our subsurf modifier. Tab in, and in transparency or X-ray mode, we can go to face select, press C, and we'll just build a selection of faces that just kind of makes the most sense. I think somewhere around here looks pretty good. The problem is, because we're in transparency mode, we're going to get both. So Alt-Z to come out, C to go back into circle select, this time right click, and it will deselect. So now we're just left with this. Press X, delete faces, tab, that looks pretty good. And if you wanted to, you can add a simple subsurf modifier. Actually, before we do that, we'll do that at the end. Let's go ahead, and we got some cutouts that we want to do on the side. And that's going to be with this right here. So let's go ahead and align. And I believe this is going to be in the Y-axis. Line this up as best we can to our reference image. Doesn't look too bad. Alright, so now we're going to select our model again. And I'm going to go into box cutter mode, which is an add-on using box cutter and hard ops. You can use simple booleans with like a cylinder object, and that'll work. Just box cutter makes it easier for me. I'm going to press D, choose circle. I'll do 32 segments, and then I can just drag and try to get the size about right. And then G to grab, place it right about there. And then I got some options. I can add an array with V, and then press my mouse wheel, scroll up or down to increase the segment counts, and then X to change the axis. And that looks pretty okay right there. So I'll click to lock that in. Alt-Z to come into transparency mode. And I am going to push that through here and there, and then make sure I have a cut both ways. Looks like I do, and I'm not cutting anything else. I'll press enter to lock that in, add some weird artifacting. I can just change my boolean to be exact. It should take care of any of that. Then I can apply, should unlock that geo for me. And then we can add a solidify modifier here. We'll do an even thickness. And then we'll just increase the count to something that makes sense. And then just like that, you have a simple AR15 metal magazine. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If so, give it a thumbs up and a like to help grow the channel, but otherwise, I'll see you on the next one.